it is likely that everyone in this workshop, that your dream is already impressed in this unseen nature of life, and that all that's left for you is to play and keep your life as buoyant as possible. And I know life is like this, and that's fine. And we keep moving back to that state of buoyancy by enjoying more of our lives, by being in nature when that feels like that's what you want to do, by saying no to this engagement, party, whatever, when you don't want to do that. It's just following that inner knowing of what feels right for you in the moment, and that changes all the time. It's just kind of staying in touch with, what do I really want to be doing right now? What do I really want to be eating for dinner tonight? What time would I rather get up in the morning? You know, I really would like an animal companion in my life. It's time to do that. Just stay in touch with what feels right for you. This really has nothing to do with anyone else. The time that can be a little more challenging is when you live with someone else, because everyone has their own idea of what's right for them. And yet, our role is to follow what's right for us, to create that. And when we do this in this very pure form, oftentimes those relationships in our lives will also follow that path somehow. And sometimes those relationships don't. And yet we still follow what's right for us. It's why you're here. Because the end result will bring you not only so much personal happiness that wouldn't be found otherwise. It is it's your puzzle piece that fits in the puzzle of all of life globally, everywhere. I don't know what the word, universally. Okay. Let's see. Vencia says, I don't know how it would come. Vencia, you don't want to know how it would come, because if you knew that, you're not working towards a dream. You're working towards a goal. You're not supposed to know how this could ever happen. So it sounds like you're doing the perfect thing. You've chosen a great item. Good job. Okay. Then when something triggers me, I instantly forget to stay positive or neutral. This is Jenny. Okay, Jenny. Yeah, and things will happen. Those are perfect opportunities for, oftentimes those things happen just because you need to clear something. There's a reason you're getting triggered. There's something in you there's something that needs to be transformed within. And the trigger is what's going to do that. And what happens is when you have a trigger like that, it is simply a pause that's needed. You feel the trigger. Your mind goes places you don't want it to go. You're upset, you're angry, whatever it is. And you take a pause. It's just you need a little bit of space, and that it's like it severs the trigger. It gives you the opportunity to have a different internal response. Now, there are things in life that happen that it's going to be harder to take that pause, or there might be something you need to deal with right in that moment, and you just do what you can do. The important piece is not to beat yourself up over it. Allow it to happen. We want to be in a space of allowing as much as we can, not resisting life. So if that means you need 5, 10 minutes, an hour in this trigger, at least don't beat yourself up for it. And the more you're able to do this, the faster these uncomfortable responses will start to lessen until that trigger is no longer there. And when that happens, you only see whatever was triggered as a gift in your life. It's like you move beyond whatever that issue was that caused that. It's all automatic, but your awareness is what will change this. And you're allowing it to happen instead of fighting it and beating yourself up, is what's going to transform you. So this trigger that has happened is not a bad thing. It's simply a stepping stone to your dream. It's exactly what's needed. When you can look at it that way, you'll move through it much faster. That somehow this is moving me closer to my dream. That's a really good statement to remember, by the way. Somehow this event is moving me towards my dream. And it's what's needed to move you towards your dream in the fastest way possible. Okay. Carrie says, I struggle with deserving a fabulous life when I feel that everybody does. Everybody does. Everybody's born to have an amazing, or has the potential to have an amazing life. And what will make that happen? Most people will think it's through reaching out and helping others. And on occasion, there may be a need for that. But oftentimes, reaching out and helping others holds them in place. What will transform this planet is a shift in consciousness. We need a mass shift in consciousness, and that changes absolutely everything else. When I say a mass shift, it's with small groups like this. We need enough of the small groups like this. It's not like we need half the people on the planet to do this. People say the number is like 144,000. I don't know. But it's not an enormous group. And we are all doing our part moving in that direction right now. Okay. Let's see. Carla says, I have to be persistent and consistent that what is in my imagination is the thing itself. So if I'm understanding that it's believing that this is real, that what you're imagining is actually the new concrete reality. Is that what you mean, Carla? I'm not quite clear. Nancy says, ebbs in my trust and hope. Yeah. And we all of us have that. And that's why workshops like this, inspirational emails from Abraham Hicks, signing up to listen to motivational speakers, people that you're drawn to, all these things really help us stay inspired, hopeful, restores faith. And we're going to always have that. That's okay. Yeah, don't feel like you're alone in that or that you're failing. You are not. That is what the path looks like. It's not a straight line ever. I don't care how good you are. It's not a straight line ever. Okay. Rochelle says, I think believing the bridge is there when I step over the unknowing. Yeah, that's that leap of faith, isn't it? Yeah, it's tough. Knowing it's possible, knowing it's actually happening. Yeah. Fear. Mm-hmm. Patricia, that is pretty much what I was thinking. Your suggestion seems right for me. Good. Thanks for return to inner knowing about yes, no, and wanting. Okay. I have struggled with current reality pain seeming so real. Recently, I've been practicing giving love to what is appearing and gently letting it go instead of struggling with it. Do whatever works for you. Yeah. For me, it's kind of like just knowing it's there to serve me in some way, even though I don't know or understand what it's doing or why. That it's moving me in a direction I need to go. And it might be that I need to be settled in what I would call being held back for a while, where all this work can be done in the unseen, and it helps me stay out of the way. I mean, sometimes, most of the time, we just don't have a clue the reasoning for it, but there's always a beneficial reason, always. Okay. This conversation and tips are so helpful. Good. So for this one person, loving it seems more effective than trying to ignore it. Yeah, good. Yeah, sometimes there are certain things in our face that are impossible to ignore. And so if sending love there, you know what happens when you're sending love? You're being filled with love in order to do that. You're raising your vibration to do that. So if you have the ability to do that, do it. Yeah, that's great. Good. And if you don't, if it doesn't make sense to someone to send love to something, let's say that's hurting, send love to something you love. That might be easier. It's all the same, no matter where you're sending the love. Doesn't make any difference, because what's happening is you're simply being filled with love, and that's where the effectiveness is. Okay. Choosing time between what I want and what seems required. Money and other timelines, trusting my beloved work, playtime, juggling with individual survival. Thanks for no straight line reminder. Good. Carla says, yes, just because my dream is in the invisible. Yeah, it's all real and it's all happening. And you're determining what happens next through your continued focus. Now, I want to say continued focus, because we also talk about, you have this dream, it's impressed already in the unseen nature of life, and I call it putting it on a shelf, because sometimes you get tired of thinking about it. You know that's what you want, but you know what? You have this feeling of, okay, I'm done. You don't need the continued focus on that then. At that point, you do your best to enjoy your life. Then you're in the cooking time fully. And you just choose things that make you happy whenever possible. Be playful, spontaneous, less complaining. Okay, that's where your focus is. Okay, let's see what's next. Thank you. I so appreciate all your input, because it gives me content. And it means that it's more suitable or more a match for what's needed just for today. So great. Or for whoever listens to this. Sending love to what I love. Thank you. Good, Nancy. Good. All right. To understand why a dream differs from a goal. I want to give you a little more insight into this. When you create in your inner world, you are partnering with the creator of all things. This is where creation happens, is in the inner world. All of creation. It doesn't matter what's being created, planets, everything. It's an inner world. When you create in the outer world, that's where you only have access to human power. When you go out and fix something, lend a helping hand. And I always have to say, there are times that's needed when we are in the process of a problem that is urgent, that, someone is sitting on the street starving. Yes, you probably buy that person a meal. It is a temporary fix that also holds the person in place, but you got to do it. I mean, you just have to do it. And the work to create change is always done in the inner world. And that's why you're relying on your imagination. This is where it's all done. This is your creative aspect, your access to consciousness. All of consciousness is in there. It's all one. This is where everything is created. Then it's reflected in the outer world. What's inside ends up coming out. It's produced. It produces your outer world. That's why you can influence something that happens later today. You have an argument with your spouse, business partner. You resolve it inside. You get to a place of appreciation, neutrality, understanding, any of these things, why it happened, maybe what the trigger was. You resolve that inside, you move beyond it, whatever. It doesn't have to be all those things, but you work through it inside, or you go beyond it by thinking about your dream and let it resolve on its own, what happens this afternoon's entirely different. This works. What I think is important to remember is life is always working on your behalf. Life is always moving us towards something better. Because it's why we're here, is for to experience something better, something greater, something we haven't experienced before. We're just here to experience and create. And we get to play and do that. Make it fun. Whatever you do, don't make this hard work.